Welcome to the show where we start with hello. Hi, and welcome back to another video by me. So, today I'm going to be speaking about the process of childbirth that I recently went through 2 weeks ago, or 13 days ago. Tomorrow it will be 2 weeks exactly. So, this would be the second time that my baby. Okay, he's shifting in his sleep. This will be the second time that I filmed this video. The first time that I shot it, it ended up being 2 hours long. I also had breaks in between where I was feeding him and the camera was still rolling. And I was just like, you know what, let me just try to redo this and make it shorter this time because even with me cutting out the parts where the camera was still rolling while I was feeding him, it was still going to be very long. So I'm just going to try to make it shorter and still say everything that I said, but I'm going to try to make it shorter. We'll see. So, I am a proud mother of a beautiful little boy who is 13 days old, and I wanted to kind of do a story time just explaining the process of my childbirth and everything that I learned and discovered throughout the process, things that I didn't know about, just pretty much how it went. So, just to give someone who is pregnant for the first time, as was the case with me, and who's delivering a baby for the first time, how it could possibly go. So, this is how it went for me. Everyone's experience is different. Although there are similar experiences, obviously, but this was my experience. So at first, I thought that I was going to be giving birth like much sooner than my due date. I just kind of had this feeling. I went on maternity leave 6 weeks prior to giving birth. Well, actually, 6 weeks prior to the due date that I was given, rather than giving birth. And I was given two due dates by my midwife. The first one was the 31st of May, and the second one was the 7th of June. And I ended up giving birth on the second one, the 7th of June. And so yeah, I thought that I would give birth earlier. I just kind of had this feeling, and in the final month, so not even just the final month, like by 8 months pregnant, I was already sick and tired of being pregnant. I wanted to see my baby. I wanted to give birth already. Like, I really enjoyed being pregnant. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. It was just a great experience. It was a great experience. I was blessed with a smooth pregnancy. I had little to no complications. And yeah, like what I wanted, I had a very shallow desire for my pregnancy, and I wanted to be one of those pregnant women that people are just like, oh, you're so pretty in your pregnancy. And I got that, and I was like, yay, I wanted that. I know it's very shallow and useless, but that's something that I asked for, and God provided, which I am very grateful for. Although it's hardly the most important. I asked for a smooth pregnancy. I asked for my baby to come out healthy, just healthy, whole. I asked for both of us to come out of the process healthy, whole, to survive. And all these things happened. So I'm extremely grateful. Yeah. But yeah, in my final month of pregnancy, final months, I was very tired, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give birth soon. I'm sure, like, I'm going into maternity leave. I'm gonna be giving birth in like 2 weeks. Didn't happen. Gave birth, like I said, on my second due date. So I gave birth at 41 weeks. So 41 weeks is actually 10 months and 1 week. So that's like, yeah. But anyway, towards the end of my second month, I was getting a lot of questions. What did I say? Towards the end of my second month, of my second final month. So You can say the ninth month going into 10 months, rounding out the 40 weeks of the general length of a pregnancy. Um, my mom and my sister, because I live with my parents and my one of my older sisters, um, they will keep asking me like, "Are you feeling anything?" And my midwife as well would ask me like, "Are you feeling like contractions?" and blah blah blah. And I would always be like, "I don't know. I don't know. Like I wish I was because I really want to give birth, but I really don't know. Okay, I don't know if I'm feeling anything. There's a certain description that contractions have. I don't really feel like I'm feeling that description. I mean, sometimes I feel like I get like pinches, twinges, kind of like cramps, but I don't know. It's few and far between. I don't know. I'll get sick and tired of getting the question because it's like, I just want to give birth already. Stop reminding me that I am actually not close to it. So anyway, that went on, and I was taking the treatments that you take to help with the effacing of your cervix to try to speed up that process to get you into labor and everything. Um, I was taking those things, but I really wasn't feeling like I was seeing many changes. Although I did start to see the colostrum, so like the watery clear liquid that comes before the milk. Um, that was when I was in my 8th month, and then when I started taking the treatment, I started seeing like every now and then mucus in my panties, like mucus discharge, and that's something that's like a sign that okay, you're approaching labor. And I was like, okay, well, cool. It's not here fast enough. So yeah. I was just like, ugh, when is this gonna come? When is this gonna come? Because I didn't want my baby to come as much as I wanted to give birth soon. I also did not want my baby to arrive before the 7th of May because the 7th of May was my engagement ceremony to his dad. And if I'd given birth before then, we would have had to postpone the engagement, and I didn't want to do that. So, yay, he didn't come on the 7th of May, but I wanted him to come like the next day or even that night. But yeah, no, it came a whole month later, exactly a month later. So 5 days prior to giving birth, so this was the Friday. I gave birth on Tuesday, June 7th, and the Friday before then, I went to the bathroom, I peed, I wiped up my pee. My dog outside my door sniffing. Okay, so I peed, wiped up my pee, and I saw this orange discharge. And orange is not a color that you see in your panties very often as a woman. Orange is very uncommon, and never in my life had I ever seen orange. So I was just like, what on earth is this? Orange. So I sent a message to my midwife, who is also my aunt. So anytime I had a question, I would always send her messages. Like anytime I felt anything, like I would always send her messages. So yeah, I asked her like, so yeah, I saw this orange discharge. What is that? Is this normal? Um, and then she's like, you're fine, but come see me Tuesday morning. So yeah, then the following day, Saturday, following that orange discharge Friday, not Black Friday, orange discharge Friday. So that Saturday, I had I felt really really bad. I felt really really bad. I felt like I was getting like I had period cramps throughout the entire night. Um, and it felt like a period cramps that just didn't stop all night. I felt nauseous. And I had very uncomfortable sleep, tossing and turning during that night, Saturday going into Sunday. And then Sunday, that feeling continued. It stopped a little bit on Sunday morning, then it came back, and I was still just like bedridden. I was like, oh my God, this feels so, oh my gosh. Ugh, I don't like taking the Lord's name in vain. Forgive me, please. yeah, I felt like I don't want to move. I feel like I'm gonna puke. I just, ugh, this feels like period cramps the whole time. People asking me if I'm feeling contractions. Like, I don't know. This is not what contractions have been described as, so I really couldn't tell you, but I'm feeling like never ending period cramps. So it turns out that I was contracting actually, but because it didn't fit the description that I'd been told, that, the contractions, there are waves like crest and fall and crest and break and crest and break. So for me, it was like, this isn't me contracting. This is just me feeling something that I'm sure means something, but these aren't contractions, but they were. So then, yeah, Monday rolled around and I was kind of okay. And then I think it kind of came back, but Monday was not as bad. No, Monday did come back. It did come back, yeah. And then the following day, and the following morning while I was eating breakfast, before showering and leaving to go see my midwife slash aunt, yeah, I was saying to my mom, like, I just pray that when she's gonna check on my cervix that I've started dilating or something. Like, I don't know. I just pray that, because I'm sick and tired of being pregnant. Sick of it. So I want my baby. I want my baby. I've been nesting for the past like 2 months. Can I have my baby? Can I? So yeah, anyway, I went and I was just feeling like, oh, in the cab, I was just like, oh gosh, this is awful. My fiance called me, asked me, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm not doing well at all, blah, 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 blah. So I went, got there. My aunt midwife, she checked on me, she checked my cervix, she put her fingers inside of me, because that's how you do that. Well, so yeah, she checked on my cervix, and she went like in deeper than she did throughout my pregnancy visits, because I guess she had deeper to go. She could go deeper, and then she's like, "You're in labor," and I was like, "What? Girl, you kidding? I'm in labor? That's crazy." She's like, "Yeah, you're like 3 centimeters dilated." I was like, "Oh man, that's crazy. That's mad." And before, like, when she would do those checkups, the cervix check, it was just, uncomfortable. It's not the same thing as when you're having intercourse, and that feeling could be pleasurable. It's not like that. It feels invasive, but it's not necessarily painful. But when she was doing it then, it was painful. That was not the worst pain that I would feel, but it was painful, and I was just like, I was like holding on to the back of the table for the first time. Like, I ain't never done that before. And so then afterwards, she left the room and she went to call another midwife, and that other midwife came in, and I think that maybe she wanted to get a second opinion from her, and she also did a cervix check, and she also went in there, and I was again feeling that, oh, this is painful, but I wasn't like yelling or anything, but I was just like, my gosh. And so yeah, from her check, she was like, oh, she's not just at 3 centimeters, she's like 4, 5, almost 6 centimeters. And I was just like, oh man. Then my aunt was like, okay, well, you need to go to the hospital right after here, because my midwife was not at the hospital where I gave birth. She works at a pregnancy center. That's just the best word that I can give it, a pregnancy center. So that's where I was. Yeah, so anyway, so she's like, you need to go to the hospital after this because you're going to give birth today. I'm like, oh man, mad. Inside I was just like, yay, but I'm in pain from what you just did to me. Then that other midwife lady, she came back again, and then she's like, we need to remove the membrane in your cervix. There's some kind of membrane. So she did that, and she was just like in there, like doing things with her fingers, and I was just like, painful. So she removed that. And once that lady removed that membrane thingy, that's when I started feeling contractions the way that they're described. Meaning you feel the ache and then it goes away, then it comes back a certain amount of time later and it's stronger, and it goes away and it comes back a certain amount of time later and it's stronger. That's when I started to feel that, and I was like, oh, this is painful. And I was warned ahead of time by like people, my midwife aunt, my mom, a neighbor who's already a mother, telling me that, yeah, the most painful thing about childbirth is not the pushing, it's the contractions. And I was trying to feel like, okay, yeah, this does not feel great. But I was just like breathing through it all because I'd done like prenatal preparation. It was like an exercise session where there was the theory part of it where we were being really, it was emphasized to us that, it's all about breathing, it's all about the breath. And luckily I already had a very strong and embodied notion of breath being at the heart of um, ridding yourself of anxiety and pain and everything, because I studied acting, and in acting you learn that the breath is the heart of life, and mastering your breath helps you master the stage, helps you master the situation, the scene, the role, the character. And that not only applies in fiction, in acting, but it applies in real life as well. So that's something that it would just reinforce what I already knew and what I had already been putting into practice for years, ever since I studied acting and graduated. So throughout my entire childbirth process, I breathed like that. And the midwives were very, very happy about it. They were amazed. They were so impressed. They were like, we're not used to seeing this. We wish we had all patients like this. We're so used to women screaming and blah, 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 blah. And I understand why, because it hurts. But I was really like focusing on don't scream, because the screaming doesn't help. It makes it worse, because then you're contracting your muscles, which makes it worse. So anyway, my midwife aunt, she called my mom. She told her, okay, can you come pick Phèdre up? That's how you say my name in French, if you don't know. Can you come pick her up? Because she's about to give birth. She's gonna give birth today. And then my mom was like, okay, well, I can't come to her. I don't have the car. I'm at this place and I'm closer to the hospital, so I'll meet her there. Then my aunt, she hailed a cab for me, took the cab, and in the cab there was this one man who was like trying to calm me down, even though I was fine, but he was just being nice. And he was saying, it's okay, just focus on the child that's about to come out and blah blah blah. When I had my first child, I didn't even think about the process of the pregnancy. I was just happy looking to the actual welcoming of my child into the world. And I was like, yeah, I totally get it. And in my head I'm just like, yeah, but you're not the one who actually went through the pregnancy, so obviously you're just looking forward to that. Like, you don't know what it's like to have the contractions. But obviously I understood he was being nice, and I totally agreed with him, but also at the same time I'm the one who's like, oh. Anyway, yeah, so they dropped me off at the hospital in front of the emergency doors, and my mom was there. Then we went inside. She told me that she'd called my sister to bring my hospital bag and everything. Then I had to do a gynecological checkup before being admitted, before going to the delivery room and everything. So they did that again. So I did that checkup. They took my information, and I had two more people putting their fingers inside of me and just like making me like, ooh. I wasn't doing that sound. I was just breathing. But inside I was just like, stop doing this to me. Yeah. So then, yeah, they did that, blah, blah, blah. And then they confirmed that I think I was at 5 centimeters when they did that. So I was like, okay, I've dilated up 2 more centimeters. Cool. Then afterwards they were done with that, and I was like, okay, we're gonna bring you to the delivery room. And I was like, already? Okay. Let's go. Let's just get this kid out, because these contraction sensations, they're not fun. So Yeah, went out. My mom, while I was doing that, my mom was busy doing taking care of the formalities, whatever that entailed. I don't know. I didn't do it. I wasn't there. Um, and so yeah, my sister had arrived already. Then some dude came up with a wheelchair, and and he was like, "Get in." I was like, "Oh, this is for me. This is so weird." I got in the wheelchair, then like, okay, cool. We're bringing him to the delivery room. My mom came back, and then we wheeled our way to the elevator. And my mom and my sister were there, and the dude who was pushing the wheelchair. And then we hear a voice behind talking to my mom saying, "And Kim." And then my mom was like, "Hey, you work here, blah blah blah." So it's a cousin of mine, and a cousin or aunt, I'm not even sure. Either way, it's a family member. Um, a family member that I don't know, that I didn't know, because there's tons of those. When you're from an African family, that's huge. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is my family member. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Anyway, yeah. So she came up and she was like, "Yeah, I know, I work here, blah, blah, blah." It's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?" Like, "Oh, Fela's giving birth." It's like, "No way, that's crazy." Okay, well, I'm going to be with her the entire time. Okay, I'm going to check on her. Um, and then, yeah, so she came in the elevator with us, went up, and then while we were in the elevator, my mom was like, "You're about to give birth." And I was like, "I know, it's crazy, I want to cry." And then she's like, "Why do you want to cry?" It's like, "It's joy." And I started crying. It's like, I'm crying out of joy. And then my sister asked me, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I'm crying out of joy." And then the guy pushing me in the wheelchair was like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I'm crying out of joy." And then my cousin or aunt also asked, "Why are you crying?" It's like, "I'm crying out of joy." And then she's like, "Well, don't cry, because the baby feels what you feel, and you don't want to make him anxious. You want him to come out, so don't cry." I was like, whatever. I'm crying out of joy. So anyway, yeah, they wheeled me into the delivery room, and then there was another midwife in there. She had to admit me into the delivery room as well, so she also took my information. I got off the wheelchair. They put me on the delivery table or chair, whatever you call it. Um, and then yeah, so she was taking my information, and then she took my info. Then afterwards, she had to do the ubiquitous and infamous cervix check. Oh my gosh! So she checked my cervix and felt that pain again. And then she was like, "Okay, confirming she's at 5 centimeters." She's at a high 5 centimeters. So I was almost at 6 centimeters. And then I was like, "What's the full?" And because they asked like, "Okay, well you're here, but you can't push yet. You can't deliver yet. You need to be at the full dilation." And I asked what's full dilation because I didn't know. They said it's 10 centimeters. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, I have a whole 5 centimeters left. How long is that going to take? Because I don't want to be at this hospital all day." I didn't say that. I was just saying that. Then yeah, then the midwife who actually delivered my baby, so it's not the same one who admitted me into the delivery room and took my information. The midwife who actually delivered my baby, she came into the room as well, and then she also went up there, and I was like, yeah, and I made that like eye roll thing, and then my cousin aunt, she saw me do that, and she was just like, she reassured me that this is the process of childbirth. You're gonna have people checking in on your cervix over and over and over again, so get with it. I was just like, okay, fine. Inside I'm just like, ugh, I hate this so much. I just want to push my baby out, and I want to see my baby because this is so uncomfortable. This is all inside. Yeah, so she checked me as well, the midwife who delivered my baby, and she confirmed that, okay, yeah, I'm at this many centimeters, still at 5 centimeters, and she's like, okay, we're gonna move along, we're gonna speed up the process of getting to 10 centimeters. We're gonna hook you up to an IV and this medication, Spasfon, that's going to speed up the process, as well as going to help in speeding up the process, which is one of the medications that I had been taking, but in a different format, not an IV form, at home in preparation for cervix dilation and everything. So yeah, so that was one of the things. And then when she first checked my cervix, the midwife who delivered my baby, she was like, okay, she has a good cervix, it's flexible. And they're like, oh, that's great, because that means that the process is going to be a lot smoother. But then when she checked again the second time, she was like, this is a hard cervix. So I was like, okay, so my cervix was deceptively flexible. It's just the outer layer that was flexible, but the inner layer was harder. And we're like, oh, we're going to have to really work that cervix to get it to open up fully. Um, and it's not going to be as fluid as we would hope. Um, and that midwife, she had to be somewhere. So this was at 11. I got to the hospital at 11:30. Well, 11:30ish. I got into the delivery room at around 11:40, 50, something like that. And that midwife, she had to be somewhere at 3. So she was like, okay, we're going to try to get this baby delivered before 3 because I have to go to this place. And I was like, girl, you do that. I am so grateful for the fact that you have to be somewhere else because I don't want to be here until 5. So let's do it. Let's do whatever we have to do. So yeah, then she hooked me up to that IV. Then then afterwards she was like, we're gonna have to massage your cervix. I was like, okay, that sounds like it won't be too painful. This is the first time I'd ever heard of, massaging the cervix. Traumatizingly painful. It's very, very, very painful. And I'm lucky because I didn't even have the harshest type of massage, because my cousin aunt told me that she'd had hers and she had the midwife's entire hand in her vagina. I only had like 2-3 fingers, I think. So I definitely got off easy with that. But it is painful. It's extremely painful. So it's kind of like the service checkup that they do. They put their fingers inside of you, but it's not just that. Then they start rooting around. They start rooting around inside of your cervix and your uterus or whatever exactly, and they're trying to get it to open up, get it to just like relax, get it to just, chill out and open and blah, blah, blah. And they're just like going at it. It is not soft at all. It is not soft at all. And I'm very proud of myself for having not screamed throughout that process. The most I did was let out a, but let me tell you, I wanted to scream my head off. But I didn't. And my aunt cousin was, she was like commending me on that, and she was encouraging me, like, just keep breathing like you're breathing, keep breathing like you're breathing, don't breathe. And it's just saying, like, you're doing great right now. So many other women that we've had here, they would be screaming right now, they'd be insulting everyone, they would be throwing things, they would be making it more difficult on themselves and the midwives trying to help them. They would be demonizing everybody in the room because it hurts so much. You're doing great. Keep breathing, keep breathing, keep breathing. So it was just like, I kept on breathing, kept on breathing, kept on breathing. Then she stopped, and then she's like, okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of exercise. I was just like, you just traumatized me. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit of exercise, and we're going to get off the table, and what we're going to do is we're going to, like, twist our hips. We're just going to twist our hips. And I was just like, I was already starting to sweat because I'm someone who sweats very easily. And I was starting to sweat already, just like, that was, yeah, my body heats up very quickly. So just that feeling, just bearing that pain, it was just heating up my body like crazy. I was starting to sweat, starting to drip, starting to bleh. And, oh wait, I forgot to even mention that, like, while she was doing the massage for the first time, she broke my water because my water hadn't broken yet, so my water had to break. And, like, while she was massaging, she was like feeling out my amniotic sac, and she's like, okay, it's there, it's flask. I think that's an English word as well, because she's speaking in French. I live in a French-speaking country. Um, but anyway, she's saying like it's there, you know, we just gotta pop that, and then she did that. Um, and I was still wearing the dress. I was still wearing the dress that I had come in with. And then afterwards, she's like, okay, well, let's take off your dress and let's put you in this. I don't know what you call it. I guess it's kind of like, you know, those over scrubs that doctors wear. That's just the arms, and then you close it in the back. You tie it in the back. So they got me one of those, and they changed me into that because when the water broke and I saw what that looks like, I was like, ew, this is not just water. There's like blood and stuff in here. This is nasty. Lol. Um, yeah, so anyway, so then like, yeah, that's when I got off the table. She's like, we're gonna do this exercise, swing our hips, swing our hips. So we'll swing, twist our hips, and the point of that exercise is that it pushes the baby further down, closer to the exit, and it makes the baby search for the exit. So as you twist, the baby is twisting his way down, looking for the opening as you do that. And then she said, whenever you feel pain, so whenever you feel a contraction, you just squat, and then you just kind of like bounce in that squat position to pretty much keep that gravity thing going. And then so I did it the first time, and I was just like twisting, and you know, it seems like it's super easy, right? But then you twist maybe 3 times, boom, contraction comes, you go down into a squat, and the balancing is difficult to do because you're feeling that contraction, and contractions are painful. It's very, very difficult to explain. Um, but yeah, so you're feeling that, and you're just like, you're trying to bounce, and maybe you're not bouncing so hard because you don't want it to hurt more. And then she's like, keep bouncing, keep bouncing. And I'm just like, like, okay, bounce, 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 bounce. And it's like when you stop feeling the pain, you come back up and you twist again. And I came back up, twist it again. The 2 seconds later, down again, contraction is back. It's almost like that exercise precipitates contractions as well. Because, I mean, that's kind of the purpose. The contractions bring your child closer to the whole. Yeah, so you twist for 2 seconds and down again, and you're just like, I think the third time I was just like, can I please go on my hands and knees? Because I was just like, I can't stand this right now. Literally, I can't squat it either. I need to be on my hands and knees and just pant like a dog in heat because this is a lot. So I was just there, and I was like trying to just breathe through that like wave of just pain. Oh gosh. And then afterwards I was like backed up again, and then got into the squat again, and then got up. And the lady was like, there was well, my baby just farted hugely, pooped. I'm gonna change him soon. Okay. Yeah, so then there was an assisting midwife, and she was like, do you need help? I was just like, oh, yeah, I got this. I'm fine. I was just like getting up. Yeah, cool. Twist, 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 twist. And then she's like, okay, get back up on the table. We're going to see how far along you are now. Oh, this video is still long, eh? I'm just trying to give all the details to just really illustrate and describe what it's like. So please bear with me. Get back up on the table. I got back up on the table. She checked on my thing again. I was just like, oh gosh, I'm feeling these contractions, and you're gonna hurt me again with your massage. I hate you. This is all in my head, and I don't really hate you, but I hate this. And the entire time I was just like praying to God. I was like, God, please give me the strength to get through this. Please give me the strength to get through this. This is what you have ordained for us to go through as women in order to bring a child into this world. So I know that I can do this. I know that I can get through this. I need your help. I need you to keep me strong. I need you to keep me pushing. So then she checked on my thing again, and she was like, okay, you're at 7 centimeters. Like, oh, okay. Gotta massage you again. I was like, oh, okay. Oh gosh. So then she massaged me. She massaged me again, and I was just like, breathing. And she's like, okay, get back on the floor. And then she left for a little bit, and then I was just still doing the exercise. She was like, well, I'm going to still do the exercise. I was still doing the exercise, and then at one point I just asked one of the assisting midwives, like, can I please, I feel like I need to go to the bathroom. I need to pee, not poo. And then in my head I thought maybe like they're gonna take me to the bathroom, but no. They brought a bedpan and I was on all fours. They brought a bedpan and then they put it under me and I was like, oh, this is so animalistic. Nice. But okay, cool, whatever. Peed. I'm like, I'm not in a position right now to be bougie. These contractions are killing me. So I'm just grateful to do something that feels like I'm releasing some of the pain. Then, then like the chick she took away the bedpan, but she didn't give me any wipe or anything. And I'm just like, can I please have something to like clean up? Like what? That's ridiculous. Yeah. And then she gave me toilet paper. I was just like, lady, what? What is this nonsense? Like, you don't know that people need to wipe up after peeing? It's just not because I'm giving birth that like I don't still need that. Anyway, I didn't say that. She just gave me the thing. This is all in my head. I had a lot of attitude in my head, but outside I was an exemplary patient. Acting. So anyway, yeah, so then afterwards I got back up, did the twisting thing. 2 seconds later, back down, squat, bounce, 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 up again, blah, 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 twisting. That midwife came back, the one who delivered me. She came back into the room and then she sat down for a little bit, chatted with another midwife, and she was just letting me do the exercise. And then she's like, okay, let's get back up on the table. Let's check how far along you are now. And I was at 8 centimeters this time. She massaged me again. Oh gosh, awful. Then she's like, okay, we're gonna do the exercise one last time, and then after this, you're gonna be close. You're gonna be able to deliver your baby. I think I was even at 9 centimeters. She's like, we're gonna do it one last time, then you're gonna to get the baby closer, and we're going to push your baby out of you. Okay? I was just like, okay. Did it again one last time. The contractions were at their all-time high. I was just like, oh my gosh. Blah, blah, blah. Then she's like, okay, let's get back up on the table and we're going to now deliver your baby. We're going to bring this little boy into the world, eh? Yeah, so got on the table and this time it was personal. Well, yeah, this time it was like, it was for the delivery and everything. So she's like, okay, whenever you feel pain, whenever you feel a contraction, you need to hold your breath and you push long and hard. And then when you stop feeling the contraction, you let go. You breathe again, When you feel the pain again, you hold your breath and you push long and hard. And blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. It's like, but only push when you feel the pain. And she was still saying that, and I already started pushing because I'm feeling pain right now, honey. I'm not gonna wait until you finish giving me the instructions. I want this baby out. Yeah. So I started pushing and everything. I was like, and she gets on encouraging me. My cousin aunt was like holding my hand. Yeah. Then. Oh yeah, and by the way, I couldn't have close ones there. And I didn't even mention the fact that when I was in the cab on my way to the hospital, I called my fiance to let him know that, hey, yeah, so can you meet me at the hospital because I'm going to give birth today. It turns out I've been in labor for this past weekend when I was feeling that pain. And yeah, so he was also already at the hospital. He was already at the hospital, but no one could come in to be able to have family members or whatever come into the delivery room with you, you needed to pay extra, which I think my mom found out at the hospital, and we're like, well, we didn't bring that extra, so okay, girl, you go give birth and we'll be out here. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so I had my cousin aunt, she was holding my hand and everything, and I was like pushing, and I was pushing as hard as I could, and I thought I was pushing as hard as I could. I pushed maybe like 3 times the first round, and the final time that I pushed, she was like, okay, you finally pushed, because every single time that you pushed before, you weren't pushing. It seemed like you were pushing, but you were not. And I was just like, what, girl, you're kidding. I'm exhausted right now. You telling me I wasn't pushing? So yeah, that's when I learned that the pressure that needs to be applied to push a baby out is huge. It's humongous. And yeah, it's humongous. It's really humongous. And when you feel like you're pushing as hard as you can, you need to push harder than that. And so then she was like, okay, we're gonna try something, because my pushing pressure was not strong enough. It really wasn't strong enough. And I was trying as hard as I could, really. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't want my baby to not be able to get out because I'm having such a hard time pushing. God, please help. yeah, then she was like, okay, we're gonna get off the table again. It's like, again. We're gonna get off the table, and I'm gonna need you to go into a squat position and imagine that you're pooping, push like you're pooping, 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 pooping super hard. And then the midwife was like checking to see if the baby was like getting closer, and so like I did that, and being in that position, it gave me the muscle awareness, the muscular awareness, and it kind of activated muscle memory. So when I got back on the table, she was like, okay, get back on the table, because she was starting to see the baby's head getting closer. Um, yeah, so it's like, get back on the table. And so there was that muscle memory. So I pushed better this time. It's like pushing better this time, the second round of pushing. Um, then there was a point where she's like, okay, well, so the baby's head is crowning. Um, Now you just need to do one final push to get him out, to just propel him out into this world, girlfriend. And I was just like, I am trying so hard. And when you're pushing, you feel, every part of you is just like squeezed so tight. Like your entire face is just squeezed so tight, and you feel like your blood vessels are popping. They're completely popping, and you feel like your vagina is tearing apart. And you're only pushing once you get through that feeling of your blood vessel popping. It's only if you push past that you're actually pushing. And then she was like, there was a moment that I didn't follow because I was like, my head was back, but my cousin aunts told me afterwards that she had this eye contact moment with the midwife who was delivering my baby, um, where they were just like, her pushing pressure is not strong enough, and if she cannot push her baby out, we're gonna have to cut her open. And they knew what they were saying, communicating to each other. They didn't say this out loud, but they just pretty much just said like, if she don't push this baby out, we're gonna have to cut her open, and we don't want to do that. Yeah, and so there were assisting midwives as well who came to like help push the baby out on my stomach. So as I was pushing, they also came to like push on my stomach to push the baby out. And then I had this final push that I had to get out, and it was at that moment they were like, we need to cut her. We might have to cut her if she can't push the baby out. And at that moment, the midwife who delivered me, she was like, okay, we're going to turn you on your side. So they turned me onto my side to have more opening. I don't know how to explain it, but that position has more flexibility. What is the word? I can't find the word right now. But it provides a wider passage, or a smoother passage, or a smooth enough passage for the baby to come out. So they twisted me on my side, and I did one final push, and I just felt this pop thing, and I felt this like come out of me, and it was my baby. It was my baby, and I felt this heat, just like when the water breaks, because when the water breaks, it's very hot. And just when my baby came out as well, I also felt this like heat. And then like, the baby's here, the baby's here, the baby's here. And he didn't cry for the first 5 seconds, and they put him on my chest, and then he started crying like 2 seconds after they put him on my chest, and I was nasty, and he was nasty. I was just like, my baby. My baby. Oh, this is I've been waiting for you all these months. Like, oh my gosh, this is my baby. I actually have a child. Like, just my entire life flashed before my eyes. Me growing up for the longest time. I didn't want kids. I was one of those people, before I had sense. And I was just looking back on all those things. I was just like, that's just so crazy. Here I am now. This is my child, and this is just the happiest I've been in my entire life. So moved, so moving. And yeah, so then afterwards they cut the umbilical cord, and they put my baby, took my baby to like clean him and everything. And then they were like, okay, cool, you did it, but it's not over. We need to What did they need to do? Yeah, we need to get the placenta out as well. We still need to push out the placenta. And I was just like, skirt? What? It's not over. It's not over. Um, yeah, so then this was now the midwife who had admitted me into the delivery room. She's the one who took out the placenta. I was also like, I think she kind of did a massage type thing, and I was also still pushing it. I still had to push it out. And the placenta came out, and then she asked me like, "What do you want to do with the placenta?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Some people want to take it home with them." So I was like, "Oh, what do people do with it when they take it home?" She's like, I don't know, memory or whatever." And I was like, "Well, how well does it store?" Because I hadn't thought about this at all. So I was like, "Girl, I don't know." And she's like, "Well, what?" She was like, "I don't really know, but it smells really bad after a while." And I was just like, "I can just toss it." Anyway, she showed me the placenta, and then she told me there was like an irregularity with my placenta where I guess the cord is usually attached to the side of the placenta, but for me it was on top, and I was like, "Is that strange?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's strange." She's speaking so clinically, like so like with intellectual curiosity. She's just like, "Hmm." I was like, "Oh, okay, okay." Anyway, so she disposed of it. Then I asked like, "Do I have any tears?" And she's like, "Yeah, you do. That baby tore you up, girl." I was like, "Ah, darn it." That's something I really wanted to avoid. I did not want to have any vaginal tears so badly. I didn't, but I got them. And then she's like, "Okay, well, that's what we need to do now. We need to stitch you up, honey." So I was still there for another 2 hours. The process of stitching me up took 2 hours because she was very meticulous. Luckily, I didn't have the worst kind of tears. I had mostly superficial tears with maybe two internal tears. Internal tears, yeah. But yeah, mostly superficial. And so she did that up, and while she was stitching me up, it was so funny because there was people coming in and out. I even forgot to mention that there was a doctor at one point who came in with like a whole bunch of um I would say students, medical students who are almost at the point where they're going to work in the hospital all the time, but they're already starting to do their rounds in the hospital. And everyone was just like standing in a row, and I was like with my feet in the stirrups and my vagina out there. Then he did the checkup on me, and then he just vanished. I'm just like, did this doctor really need to put his fingers inside me? Because he didn't even deliver my baby. Like, what was the point of that? But anyway, just to act like he did his job, a midwife delivered me. Go away, bruh. So anyway, yeah. So then she sewed me up, and like I was saying, while she was sewing me up, this was the midwife who admitted me into the room, the one who took out the placenta, not the one who delivered my baby. A bunch of other midwives were coming. They were like, "Wow, you do this so well. This looks so pretty. This looks so neat. Like, where did you learn this? Blah blah blah." I was just like, it was very funny. It was very funny while I was just there, my legs up for 2 more hours. My knee is just shaking, because you're up there like that. These are my feet on the stirrups, and my arms are how your legs are, and just are shaking because you have to hold yourself up. And I was like, I had to hold my knees up because, oh gosh, very uncomfortable. And then I was just like, "Okay, when is this gonna be over? Can this be over soon?" And then they kept on being like, "Sorry, okay, I'm sorry. It's almost over." She said this probably like 3 times. I'm like, "Ugh, you said this before. It's not over yet. Stop saying that." Yeah. Then finally it was over. It was finally over. And it turns out that the midwife who had to leave, the one who delivered my baby, who had to leave at 3, she was still there. And I was like, "Ah, sorry, lady." Anyway, um, yeah, so then afterwards, the one who stitched me up, she cleaned me up with like cold water and maybe something else. But either way, it was just like it felt good to have some cold down there after all that heat. Um, yeah, and then afterwards they were done with that. They're asking me, "Okay, so you have a room already?" And I was like, not that I know of. I just came straight here and everything, but it's a private room that I want." And then they were like, "Oh, we don't have any more private rooms left. Like they're all blah blah blah." I was like, oh, okay, well, that's what I want. Lol. Then there's like, we could possibly put you in this one space that we converted into a room, but we need to wait for this one lady who's in there to get out. And then I ended up waiting there. I was still in the delivery room for another 3 hours, as I was essentially waiting for that space to clear up. At least that's what I thought that I was waiting for. But then it turns out that it's almost like they had forgotten that I was waiting for that or something. Anyway, yeah, so after I had delivered the baby, my mom came in. My mom is the first one to see him. She came in and then she prayed for him. She prayed for me. Then afterwards she left. And then when I was done being stitched up, that's when they called my fiance so he could see his son and everything. And I was just so happy. I was so happy that he would get to see him and everything. My fiance would get to see our son, and yeah, so he was just smiling, and he put uh, a bill of money on our baby's forehead because I was holding him, and that's it's a customary thing here where when you go see a baby, you gift him with something, you gift him with money. And it's kind of like, it's like a blessing. It's like, yeah, it's like a blessing, kind of like when the three wise men came to see Jesus and they brought him presents and gifts and gold and all that jazz. Myrrh, frankincense, and gold. Myrrh, frankincense, and gold. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, it's a blessing. May you have prosperity, that kind of vibe. And when you put it like all the midwives in the room, they just clapped. And this was the first time I was actually witnessing this custom. So I was just like, okay, that's sweet. And then afterwards, I was like, why did you do that? And he's like, it's a custom. I was like, okay, well, I've never heard of it before, so thanks. Thank you, baby. And so my baby has money. You just born and you already got cash. Look at you. Lol. Yeah, and then afterwards, my fiance had to leave because we're not allowed to have guests unless you paid that extra cash to have the guest there. So it was only once I was in my actual room that I could have the guests and everything, the visitors. Yeah, so I was there for another 3 hours. I got back into my dress and everything, and I felt so tired. I was like, I want to try to sleep. And so I just kind of like laid back on the table and everything. Like they cleaned me up, the blood that was on my legs and everything. Um, yeah, and then I was left alone in the room. Just maybe had someone come in, check up every now and then, like, hi, how are you? Blah blah blah. Um, then like I got up with like the IV thing because because my baby was laying over there. He was sleeping over there, like where over there is, but just like at the end of the room, on the little changing table. And yeah, then I picked him up and then I tried feeding him for the first time. And then food was brought to me. Like my fiance brought me food, and well, he didn't bring me food. He gave it to the security guard who brought me the food. And afterwards, he called me to find out, okay, so what's the situation with the room and everything? I was like, well, I don't know. We're still waiting on that one room that they said that they were waiting to free up, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, afterwards, he sorted it out, and it was at 6 that I finally got into a room, and my family came. My brother had left because he wasn't sure of what was happening, I guess, or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I had some of my family members because I have two sisters who are not in the country. And I had another sister that had a class, so she couldn't be there teaching a class. So it was just one of my sisters. I have four sisters. So it was one of my sisters, my parents, and obviously my fiance. And I ended up being in a room with someone else. I was like, fine, whatever. I mean, I have no choice, right? And yeah, they brought me food, like snacks, lots of water, like a 4-pack of water. It's like, I'm not gonna be here for that long to need a 4-pack of big bottles of water, but okay, thank you. Thank you. And like there were so many snacks. I was just like, oh girl, I'm gonna eat my fill. And I really just ate one thing and I didn't even finish it because I went home the following day. Yeah, I went home the following day around the time that I arrived. So I gave birth 2 hours after I got into the delivery room because the process of what I was waiting for throughout those 2 hours was just them preparing my cervix and everything. So I gave birth at exactly, my baby came out at exactly 1:30 on the 7th of June, 2022. So I was really, really grateful and really lucky that I didn't have to have a long labor process. And then my cousin aunt was telling me as well that I was indeed lucky because if the midwife hadn't been so determined to, get me to dilate quickly by doing all those exercises, the massage, as painful as it is, I could have been there still in labor for another like 5 hours. So it was worth it. That horrible pain of that massage was worth it. That's really awful pain. I pray that if you get pregnant and you deliver, you don't go through that. But you know what? I also pray that you do go through that so you can know what it is. Because, it builds character. For sure it does. And that first night I was in so much pain down there in my vagina because of the stitches. And tomorrow it will be 2 weeks since I will have given birth, and I still feel those aches. It's not nearly as sore as it was that first night, but I still feel those aches. I still waddle when I walk because of the stitches and the pain, the discomfort. Now I'm more at a discomfort level, but every now and then I feel like a oof, ooh, But yeah, so they should be falling out soon, the stitches. Um, yeah, they should be falling out soon. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But yeah, that is the most pain that I felt post partum. The the stitches pain, and they kept on telling me, well, that's normal, that's to be expected. You're recovering from that and everything. No hot water in that region for 2 weeks. So tomorrow will be exactly 2 weeks because it can dissolve the stitches. And if the stitches dissolve, you're going to have to come back here, get stitched up again, and go through another 2 weeks of aches and pains. I don't think you want that. I don't think I want that either. So I've been really, really careful when I shower. I shower with cold water down there, hot water everywhere else because I like hot water. And every single time, anytime I feel like hot water has gotten there, I always just take a lot of cold water and just like to counterbalance it like quickly. And luckily my stitches are still there. They haven't dissolved. So yay. Other side effects. So obviously there's the stomach that stays. I didn't know about the fact that pregnant women bled a lot. Well, not pregnant women. I'm not pregnant anymore. I've been pregnant for so long that I identify with pregnancy. Well, I identify as a pregnant woman. Well, anyway, yeah, so I didn't know that new mothers, so new mothers having just given birth mothers, they bleed a lot. I didn't know about that, so that's something that I learned, and obviously had the maternity pads and everything. I didn't learn that right after I gave birth. I learned that before, but I found that out during my pregnancy. Yeah, so I took the pads and everything, and it's been 2 weeks now, as I said, and the flow has majorly thinned out. So I'm praying that by next week it will be totally done because it's really, really thinned out. So now I'm like, yeah, hopefully next week it will be fully done because I haven't had periods in so long and I love that. I hate bleeding from my vagina. So I'm just looking forward to that ending until I start getting my period again. But when I'll have a period again, I will be able to use tampons, which I prefer over pads. And then I don't have to feel any blood. Yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, so those are some of the side effects. Another side effect that I've had postpartum that I did not know about as well at all. And I only looked it up last night because I was like, this has been happening every single night ever since I gave birth. Let me actually find out what this is. So, night sweats. I always wake up with just, ugh, wet everywhere. Wet under, like, between my elbows, my thighs, the backs of my thighs, under my butt, under my boobs, my back, everywhere. Just sweaty. Just, it's so uncomfortable. So, yeah, I looked that up and I was like, okay, yeah, it's due to the progesterone and some other hormone getting back down to pre-pregnancy levels to pretty much, non-pregnancy levels, and with that comes night sweats. So I don't know when that's going to end, but I hope it ends soon because I'm so sick and tired of it. Night sweats suck. Yeah. What else have I Yeah, what else have I obviously there's the belly. The belly doesn't go away right away. So after I gave birth, my belly kind of looked like I was 3 months pregnant. Maybe 3 months. No, 3 months. 3 months pregnant. Yeah, it looked like I was 3 months pregnant. And now it's been 2 weeks, and I've been seeing my belly go down gradually, gradually, gradually. And now I look like I mean, it's very difficult to say. I would still say 3 months pregnant, because when I was 2 months pregnant, I had a flat stomach. It was when I was 3 months pregnant. It was actually, no, it was when I was 4 months pregnant that my stomach started to actually be round, and you're like, she's pregnant. So I guess I looked like I was 4 months, almost 4 months pregnant when I gave birth, and now I look like I'm 3 months pregnant. Yeah. And yeah, my stomach is looking flatter and flatter, flatter and flatter. And I think and I pray that 2 weeks from now it will be back to normal. Yeah, I'll be back to having a flat belly. Um, and yeah, I am looking forward to that. But I already see my shape again. And yeah, it looks like I'm close. I'm close. So I'm happy about that. And what other side effects can I think of? I think that's pretty much it. These are pretty much the side effects that I'm aware of. I'm lucky I don't have postpartum depression. Part of me thought that I would have it. I really thought that I might, because I'm dramatic like that. But it didn't happen, and thank God. Because my baby is my love, and yeah, I'm just grateful. Um, of course, it's not to say that women who go through postpartum depression don't love their babies. I just said that like that. But yeah, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm implying. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And being a mom is so crazy. I still can't get over it. I still can't get over it, honestly. I'm just like, I can't believe I'm a mom. I can't believe I'm a mom. I have a baby. I feed him. I change him, and I have to change him soon and feed him after that. Like, I can't believe that I pushed this baby out. I pushed you. Oh, I cannot. I cannot. I can't believe that your father and I made you. Like, and that God knitted you in my womb. I honestly can't get over it every single day. And I love him so much. I love my child so much. It's wonderful. It's amazing. And every day is just like, I'm raising you. I'm raising you, and I want the best for you. And I want you to be a stand up human being. a man of God. I want you to have that wisdom, that spiritual wisdom from a very young age so that you can go through life with balance. Um, I just want the best for you. I want the absolute best for you. And yeah, that's how I feel. It's how it is. Anyway, so that's the process. That was how my child came into this world, how I found out that I was pregnant, the process of delivery, which was nothing like I have seen on television. I wasn't aware of all these different steps that I went through before giving birth. It was really a learning experience, and I'm grateful I went through it. I'm very grateful that I went through it. Um, and having gone through the pain of childbirth, like I can honestly be like, I don't know. I don't know how women who have multiple children have done it, because you know how painful it was. You know how painful that was, and you chose to have another child. I commend you. I really commend you. And so I've honestly been like, do I want another child? Because I was like, I want two kids. And I wanted twins. I wanted twins, so it's like one off. And after going through that process, I was like, girl, did you think he was going to push out two? Girl, what? You crazy. But anyway, like, I know I'm saying this now because I'm still feeling PTSD. But I assume that I'm going to have a little bit of amnesia. And when I'm pregnant again, I'll be like, oh, I can't wait to have my baby. Yeah. It's definitely something to go through. I recommend all women go through it. And only women, because y'all are the only ones who can give birth to children. And I'm not talking about anyone who identifies as a woman, I'm talking about actual women. You know the ones. Dankeschön. Thanks for watching, and go have a baby.